question is, have we seen a frost in the UK? Now, some places have. That's no surprise. It's, you know, where are we now? The 7th of November. It's quite usual for some places to have had a frost. But only, or actually less than 20% of the stations across the UK have had a frost so far this autumn. Now, that's not hugely remarkable, but it is significantly less than average. So not everywhere normally has had a frost by this point of the year, particularly towards the south. But the fact that fewer than 20% of the sites around the UK, that is a pretty low number. And as Alex mentioned before, when it comes to, you know, if we were to use the Indian summer term, the fact that, yes, temperatures have been warmer than average or higher than average, and it's so mild at the moment, but it's not that warm, sunny spell. We haven't got the high pressure bringing in the beautiful sunshine, so it's not your typical autumnal warmth setup. But let's look at exactly how warm it has been so far. And actually, that's not the chart that I wanted to show you first of all. So here's our mean temperature running through the whole of autumn, comparing it to previous records. So the dotted line is this year, and the black solid line is the average, and whether it's shaded orange or blue is showing at that stage in the season whether or not it's above average or below average up to that point. And so you can see September started warmer than average, and then we dropped closer down actually towards the end of September. We had a cooler period, but then temperatures picked up in comparison to average as we went through much of October. And then there's really been a bit of a kick, an uptick through the last couple of days. If we zoom into November in particular, and you can see that just how above average these are our mean temperatures. They have been through this month so far, a few degrees. This is looking at the whole country, and you can see actually for this stage in the month, now we're only, well, today's the 7th, but I only have data up to and including yesterday, so the first 6 days, so getting awfully carried away to be drawing major conclusions. But actually for this stage in the month, it's the warmest or mildest, whichever way you want to put it, first 6 days of November that we've had. Which just goes to show, yes, it is warm. We talked about how warm or how mild it has been with the very mild night that we had, bonfire night. But it is, when you compare it to records, it is very mild, very warm indeed. A couple of other things that we can look at telling a similar story, and this is the similar graph to the one that I showed you, but instead of looking at the season as a whole, this is looking at each day in particular. And again, the reason that I wanted to show you this one is because we have had some cooler spells when we look at our mean temperature as we've gone through autumn, particularly during the back end of September, as I mentioned earlier. But actually, we've had some particularly larger spikes, and it's this most recent one, just in the last few days, the start of November, which has been particularly above average. And again, if we show you that chart. But the one other chart on this theme that I wanted to show you is the minimum temperature. So I was just showing the mean temperature, but if we look at the minimum temperature, it's even more skewed towards the positive, towards the warmer side. And that goes in line with, there's been a lot of cloud around. October was really cloudy, and the cloudy themes generally continued as we've gone into November. And so that's why the minimum temperatures have been even higher than average compared to the mean and more so the maximum temperatures. So the question is, how long is this warmer spell, the milder weather, going to continue? Or are we going to see something colder? Is there a chance of a bit of snow as we go through November? Well, yes, there is the chance of something a bit wintry. So I will run through very quickly the forecast for the next few days just to paint the picture and tell the story. But what we have at the moment, a band of rain towards the southwest, and that's going to make its way northeastwards across the country as we go through the rest of Friday and overnight into Saturday. As we go overnight Friday into Saturday, we kind of end up with a northeast-southwest split, cloudy, a bit wetter towards the northeast, clearer skies towards the southwest. So as a result, actually in the southwest or southwest third of the UK, it's going to be a bit fresher than it has been through some recent nights, but still quite cloudy and murky to start towards the northeast. That clears away, and then actually, if I put our cloud amount on, and you can see actually through a large chunk of tomorrow, lots of fine sunny weather around. Not wall-to-wall sunshine everywhere. There's another system coming in from the west. That's going to bring some rain later. But yeah, a fair amount of sunshine. And if I just quickly put on our temperature layout, our 850 theta W, so the temperature higher up, and you can see there's still quite warm air across us, and with the sunshine it's probably going to feel pretty pleasant tomorrow. Generally light winds as well. But then things take a bit of a change, and that's the more unsettled, uncertain weather that Alex mentioned earlier. Because, yeah, we have a front that's coming in from the west later on as we go through Saturday into Sunday. Ahead of this, a lot of fine weather. So if you're going out for fireworks displays Saturday night, most places away from the far west of Northern Ireland, having some decent weather, some decent conditions for that. But that rain pushes in, so Sunday looks like the wetter day of the weekend for most places after a largely fine day on Saturday. And then we end up in this. Quite a changeable setup. There are various areas of low pressure nearby, and there's going to be quite a bit of rain at times too. But because of the direction that all of our air is coming from the southwest, well, it's going to stay pretty mild, particularly by night. You'd expect some relatively mild nights still. Then this area of low pressure, this is causing us some headaches. It's set to come in towards the UK as we go through into Tuesday, so that's when we could see some heavy rain. But worth bearing in mind that this is the Met Office model. Other models want to keep the low pressure a bit further west, and so whilst there's the potential for some very wet weather as we go through Tuesday into Wednesday, at the moment it's not the most likely scenario, and actually it could be a bit wet, but probably not as wet as some of the graphics were showing. But what I wanted to get onto is exactly how or when we're going to see a change to something a little bit fresher. And to do that, I want to show you a couple of things. So here is our ECMWF anomaly chart. So the European Centre for Medium Range Weather Forecasting, their anomaly charts looking at temperature compared to average for the week starting the 10th of November. So this is next Monday. And this is going in line with that unsettled theme and sticking with it staying milder than average. But if we go on to the week later, so this is the week beginning the 17th of November, and you can see it's changed slightly. Now this time, temperatures look like they're going to be much closer to, well, pretty much around average for many parts of the UK, away from coastal areas. Why is this likely to happen? Why is there the potential for something to come a bit chillier? Well, it's all due to the pressure setup, as we often see. The pressure anomaly for that week, beginning the 17th of November, from ECMWF has high pressure towards the north of the UK. So some settled weather towards the north, but if this comes off, then we could still see areas of low pressure tracking across the south or to the south of the UK. And the important thing is the wind direction. Now remember, our wind goes in a clockwise direction around areas of high pressure. So this would allow for a northeasterly or an easterly air to push its way in. So this could bring something a little bit chillier as we go deeper into November. And if that chillier air comes in and then we see systems of low pressure coming in as well and they meet together, well, that could bring something wintry, some sleet, some snow on the northern edge of any systems tracking across the south. But it's no guarantee by any means, because if we look at some Met Office output for the same period, so again looking at the period starting the 17th of November, and this pressure anomaly has the high pressure more across the UK, and with that in mind, then the temperature anomaly, it's not dropping as much. It's more likely to stay a few degrees above average. At least the temperatures on paper, because it's worth bearing in mind, if we have high pressure sat across us at this time of year, well, that's going to lead to some pretty gloomy weather. It could be quite grey, it could be quite foggy at times, and so whilst the nights might stay quite mild, by day, if you're stuck under that grey skies, it could actually feel a fair bit fresher. Remember, we talked about those average temperatures. As we go deeper into November, we're only looking at, high single figures at best, really, and if you're stuck under the cloud, really feeling quite fresh. So I think things are going to take a bit of a fresher turn, but not a huge drop in temperatures just yet. But watch out for the potential for something more of an easterly if high pressure dominates over northern parts